We're running. Nicholi Rogatkin, the one and only. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. What episode are we in? Five? Come here.
5.
Yeah. Come here. I'm so happy. I'm so happy this is working out so well with all the visits. You're an absolute BMX legend. I have so many questions, so many hints on my list. You're from the USA with Russian roots. You started Mass of Dirt with 13. I think you're the only BMXer that successfully switched to mountain bike. And I can't even tell you how much I miss the events. We have been just recently now at Crankworx Innsbruck together. We've been on an absolute rampage since. Absolutely. And now we're here. Welcome to Mass of Dirt Hangout.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I mean, I haven't seen you in 2 years. I haven't been in Europe in basically 15 months. So amazing to be here. Like you just said, we had a wild weekend at Crankworx. So now we're here and life couldn't be better. So yeah, let's get after it.
That's absolutely sick. I do remember, I do actually remember exactly the first time you walked into the Vienna City Hall, the venue for Mass of Dirt, when you were 13 with Vlad, your legendary dad. Mm-hmm. But how did it start before that? Where did I discover you? Was it FIS?
Yeah, I remember exactly the story. If you're okay with it, I'll just tell you
the story of how
I remember it. So I was at FIS Montpellier. I was 13 years old. It was my first big international contest. Vlad and I flew from the States to Europe. He was crazy for taking me out of school and just being so confident that he could ship me off at this age to a professional competition. Like FIS Montpellier is a world-class competition. Like, that's ridiculous. And the place where you met us, I remember there was a dirt contest that year and the jumps were huge. And because I was so small, I could jump the step down, but I couldn't get speed for the first jump. And I kept trying and I kept trying. And I remember Vlad came up to me and he was like, hey, this guy, he has this big show. And he's asking me if you would want to come, do you think you would be able to jump this size jumps by next year in the spring? And I was just in such a stressed moment, like a little kid at this contest, can't hit the jumps, all freaking out, all nervous. And then I was like, yeah, I think so. And then we talked a little bit and you kind of said the same thing, like come to the show and all that stuff. And I was just blown away at that opportunity. Like, I can't believe I can't even hit the jump. And I guess you saw some potential in me because you were confident that next year I could come there and ride those jumps. And I definitely did. So I remember that specific moment at FIS Montpellier when I couldn't even hit the jump, but you had the confidence in me that the next year I'd be able to ride M.O.D Vienna, literally the biggest show. One of the biggest shows in the whole world, you know? So thank you for that. And that moment, that FIS, I will never forget.
Thinking back, I mean, it's crazy because FIS is not really the turf to bring a 13-year-old. Oh. Probably Vlad didn't know or he didn't care. I mean, we'll come to that point a bit later. Because there's so many riots and people burn cars and people are shit drunk. And it's like, I actually think, you know, I love party and rockstar lifestyle, but what happens there on the street, I think is a bit over the top. Yeah. Because it gets so dangerous and shit. But the contest is great. And what FIS has put together also now by being in China and stuff, mad respect. Mad respect. But if you think back now with that step down, because you were killing it on the mini ramp with Spine and stuff.
Yeah, I rode the Spine Mini and the park run, when I was 13 years old. That has to be one of the best moments of my life because you know that crowd, the way they sit on the banks. And I was 13 and I think I dropped in and did like a 360 double whip straight away or a flip whip straight away. And man, the sound that these fans made and me coming from skate park contests in the US and suddenly I'm on this world stage in front of all these people. Man, I think that's what inspired me to keep continuing and keep riding in front of these crowds and just compete at that world stage because I was 13 and I was like, wow. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely crazy. And riding the step down and then trying that first jump. Did you hit the first jump or did you always break?
Yeah, no, casing the hell out of it, so sketchy, but
were you scared? Like, do you remember wearing like? It was. Do you even know something like fear because you started so early? When did you start riding?
I started riding when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
And it's different from fear because in that moment it was like I knew I didn't really have the speed, and I was riding with all these guys that were way bigger than me. Like there was no peer for me to compare to. So I was like, I know I can't get as much speed as these guys. Like, so it wasn't like a fear aspect. It was like it was almost like something that I didn't know I could do. So it was different. But for me, fear, yeah, of course the fear exists. I know better than anybody the risk that I'm taking every time I ride. So you got to respect it and you got to have that fear. Otherwise.
For sure. But like is it now any different than back in the day, or back in the day, like before you first double flip in Woodward with which age?
13 years old, first double flip.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Did you feel fear at that point? Like,
yeah, it's strange to say because people picture me as like this absolutely sendy rider and like this guy that has these wild crashes and gets back up. And I admit, like I have had huge slams and I am pretty sendy, but when it comes to the training, I'm very calculated. Like when I was 9 years old, I did my first backflip. But I think for months before that, I must have done like 100 backflips in the foam pit, landing perfect. And I was still like calculated to the point where I was too nervous to do it on the resi. Same with the double flip. Like when I was 13, I was double flipping in the foam every time. But I was like, I don't know if I can try this on a real jump. And just like making sure the trick is really perfect before making it happen. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Always been like calculated and like, in that sense, like you have to be prepared to do a trick. You have to be prepared for it to go wrong. You have to be prepared for things to happen that you don't expect. So I've been sendy always, but I've been calculated as well. So
also, I mean, people have to take into consideration when you were 13, which is 12 years ago, if I remember right.
Yep, 25 now.
Almost no one double flipped. Probably Steve Murray, Corey Nastasio, and probably a handful of other people. But it's not like now where, I mean, huge big up to Lennox and his double flips and to all the double flip centers, if mountain bike or BMX or scooter. It's crazy. It's a crazy trick. But back in the day, no one did it. So it was even crazier. Regarding being sendy and doing your tricks and stuff, are you also like, have you always been riding as protected as you do now? Because your range of protection is huge. Ball protection, shin, knee, hip, ass pad, which I mean is obviously understandable.
No, for sure. I think that the biggest reason for all the protection is because I've consistently for my whole life been trying to learn new tricks. And I've had like crashes that kind of add on the protection. Like when I was small and learning tail whips, and double tail whips and stuff like this, like there's a lot of times that my nuts got destroyed, you know? Where it came to a point where you're like, it's worth it to wear a cup. It's worth it to wear protection on your nuts. And then when I ruptured my spleen at Dew Tour when I was 16, like big crash, bars in the stomach, ruptured spleen, ambulance. After that,
horrible.
After that I was like, there's no reason why I shouldn't wear a chesty.
So you were invited on the Dew Tour BMX?
Yeah. BMX Dew Tour, 16 years old. I crashed in practice the day of the contest. Big crash.
What did you crash on?
Super dumb crash. I did a tail whip on the second set, and I caught the tail whip too early, and it started sending me nosedive, and I landed on my front wheel, and it like sent the bars into my ribs, and the ribs cut my spleen open. So that was a really gnarly one. It had me off the bike for 8 months. Luckily, I was young enough that they didn't take my spleen out. Because a lot of times when riders rupture their spleen, it just gets taken right out. And you can live normally with no spleen. You just have a huge scar. You have to take antibiotics, all that type of stuff because it filters your blood. But since I was so young, they're like, we're gonna leave you here, like no food for a couple days to see if you need emergency surgery. But like we really don't want to take this spleen out because you're so young. So luckily I still have my spleen, but that's why from then on, I started riding a chest protector. And then at my first Crankworx, I like rode off the course into some wet grass and got like spun around and went back first into a rock. Like back first into a rock, so painful. And the medics were like looking at my kidney, and they were like, yo, you look like your kidney's bruising, like you might have a ruptured kidney. So the day before my first ever joyride, I'm like sitting in the Whistler emergency room, like pissing in cups, waiting for these tests to come back. Like scariest piss of my life, because like if you piss and you see blood, like you know your stuff's ruptured. So I'm like, please no, please no, please no. So like normal piss, they do the blood test, everything. And the next day I rode the contest. But then after that, I'm like, I have to ride back protection from now on. So you know what that's what I'm trying to say. Like over the years, when you experience gnarly crashes in gnarly scenarios, when you're learning new tricks or you're at contests, like you just add on that protection just to have that extra, not even protection layer necessarily. Of course, it serves as a protection layer, but like that confidence layer.
Yeah,
because like when I put on my pads, like I'm bulked up and I'm padded up, but I'm ready. Like I'm ready to hit the ground. I'm ready to do gnarly stuff. Like, and that's the way I always want to ride my bike, because that's what the fun is for me. You know, flying high in the air, big tricks, big consequences. Like that's what it's always been about for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think kids should really look up to that and not to padless, super sandy people, because it's just not cool. And I see like with the Russo bros, I'm like, Elias, why are you not riding like pads now in this warehouse session? Everyone's here, you're sending tail whips. Take your time, we're still here in 15 minutes, pad up. You're gonna hurt yourself. Or like riding trails without, I just never thought it's cool, you know? Okay, yeah. If you leave your shin, if you don't ride shin guards, fine. But knee, you fuck your kneecap properly, your career's done.
Yeah.
And
I mean, with biking though, like with all aspects of biking, there's a little bit of a stylish aspect, which for me, clearly for my whole career, basically, the riding has meant more than the fashion. I would way, way rather look not so cool, have extra protection, no visor on the helmet. But if that makes me ride better and do the tricks that I want to do and ride like the gnarly way that I want to ride, if it helps me in that sense, man, I don't care about the fashion.
Yeah.
But it's like that aspect of the sport in terms of like being stylish and being cool and wearing cool clothes. Like that's like a very important thing in biking for a lot of people. So I understand, but
I understand where they come from too, but I just don't think it's the smartest.
Oh, not smart.
No. The smartest thing to do, because, I mean, Mike Aitken. There's so many.
You can identify so many
the list is where we couldn't fit it on that A4 sheet written on a typewriter. How many people like fuck their career because they didn't protect themselves properly? So yeah, I just think it's not cool. So if you're like if people look up to you, I think they should look up to you as a total and also ride with pads, because they'll come further. I just have been having a sneak peek on the Slingshot BMX YouTube channel. Maybe we can have a look over there. That video.
This double flip, or what are we gonna look at?
Go to videos, Mr. Spielberg, for a second.
Dubsy.
No, the videos on his YouTube channel. Slingshot BMX. Yeah, first one. And then go to videos. And then go all the way down. And then Nicholi, you choose one of the... Go down, all the way down. Then you choose one of the early ones. But it's like I mean, you rode with all the legends.
Yeah, let's look at the first 360 double whip. Because the first 360 double whip, I remember I was trying that trick that trick just had me. It's in the bottom right. Or the bottom right, yeah. No, the 42nd one where I'm laying on the ground. I remember that trick just had my number. And then I just landed it and I felt so accomplished. Like, I just been trying that trick for days and weeks. And I just couldn't help it, man. I was just selling, like...
Amazing.
That's, like, just laying on the ground. Dude, if you think about it, that starfish pose that I laid in there is like the same exact pose as I laid in after I won the Triple Crown, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, it's always been about the sellies for me and about like...
How heavy was that bike? Was that heavy?
Probably as heavy as my mountain bike is now, if not heavier. There's my little brother on the right, who's literally a giant now.
That's crazy.
But it's always like, it's always been about like conquering something that you don't know if you can do and do it. Like that's always been the most important thing. So that's why like that 3 double whip video or like the double flip one as well. It's just like those tricks that you never think you're going to be able to do. And then
do you regret that you didn't keep going on YouTube and that you're not one of the early vloggers? Because I mean, you started YouTube with that Slingshot BMX channel. This could be, I mean, you know, if I would have, I could have.
Yeah,
it's not a good thing to say, but did it ever come to your mind and you're like, fuck?
It came to mind, but I'm thankful that I didn't have to continue with the YouTube path because obviously my career took a different path where I was able to do competitions all the time. Like from the time that I got into mountain biking, it was basically all competition from there. And every year I was busy with shows and contests. And that's been incredible. Like all the experiences I've had over all these years with the competing and the partying, obviously, and just the traveling, I'm so stoked. So YouTube would have been cool, but the competition lifestyle and that whole thing, what I've been doing for the last years is, I wouldn't change it for a thing, bro.
How many naysayers were when you like switched to mountain bike?
Surprisingly, people were pretty supportive, like especially the mountain bike world. They really welcomed me super nicely, which I was pretty hyped about. I mean, I assume that people were kind of like on the down low, like not so hyped on it, because obviously my style was different when I came in, doing a bunch of BMX tricks, sketching around a little bit, riding in hockey pads at first. Bullshit. But they welcomed me super nicely. Luckily, I was able to get some good results straight away. Like become super good friends with a lot of the top guys, and the slopestyle vibe is epic. We all support each other so much and stuff like that. So now, after being in there for years, I understand like welcoming in, because we welcome in like all these new riders and everyone's stoked for everyone. But back then was cool. I mean, I never thought I would quit BMX. Like when I first started getting on mountain bike, Martin Soderstrom helped me get mountain bike, because if you remember, when Martin was riding a lot of the Masters of Dirt shows, him and I had a lot of the same tricks, because I was small, was doing a lot of triple whips, a lot of 360 double whips. He had like those same tricks on mountain bike. Mm-hmm. And so him and I would do trains. He was massive, I was tiny. So it was a fun dynamic.
Yeah.
And then obviously I would watch his competitions, like the Crankworx and the district rides and all those things, because he was absolutely going off. And then I was like, man, this looks epic. Like I want to try. So luckily he was able to get me a bike from Specialized. And then I was like, I went both. Like I was still riding BMX a lot, doing contests like ASA triples and stuff.
ASA triple is like the wooden
it's like
jump
2
box?
jumps and a quarter, like head-to-head battles. So I was doing like those events, but in my heart, deep down, I was like, man, when I was 5 years old, getting on a BMX bike at the local trails, like that's where it all started for me. Like, how can I leave BMX? Like, how can I transition from the small wheels to like this other sport? Like, how can I do it? But then like slowly I started realizing that it's very similar in the sense that I'm still getting to live my life on 2 wheels, doing a lot of the same tricks, and kind of like being driven by that same passion that I had since I was a little kid. So the switch was tough with competing and with the emotional side, but of course it was worth it, and it's been incredible. So
could you still go back to a BMX now, or do you do sometimes, and how difficult is it?
I haven't gone back in a while until last year in Woodward, because I went to Woodward camp last year where I spent a lot of my childhood.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Okay. So I brought my hardtail and my BMX, and I was like, okay, I'll ride both. And then I rode like a little on my hardtail, and then I got on the BMX, and the skate parks were so much more fun on the BMX. So I stayed like for over a week on the BMX, and it was epic. It was an incredible feeling just to be back.
Was it your BMX, or did you?
Yeah, my BMX, my signature KHE frame. So I felt right back at home on it. It was a lot smaller, obviously, but that felt insane. Like being back at Woodward, being back on a BMX, I was like, man, this is so good.
Could you ride a Crankworx Innsbruck course on a BMX?
No, man.
Never?
No, you need suspension. And honestly, the brake power on mountain bikes is pretty crazy. And on a course like Innsbruck, it doesn't really seem like it, but there's a lot of braking involved. Like,
oh yeah?
Yeah, like the day before the contest this year, it rained. So for contest day, the conditions were actually really, really nice. But like during the course of the practice week, like that course is fast. Like we're talking land the first drop, big jump, and then like 2 or 3 brake taps in that berm. Then you hit the boner log, brake, hit the jump, brake.
That's what
brake.
makes it so difficult.
So it's
right?
it's like tech. You got to be able to like judge your speed and very lightly adjust. You know. So on a BMX, I think you end up going way too far, and then the little wheels and the lack of suspension can't take it. I'm sure there's some BMX riders that could do it, but I don't know if I'd volunteer for that.
Yeah, I admire BMXers. It's crazy. Like, you know, it's so. I always like. What's it called? Was really crisp in the air and got stuck in like this weird position because I'm so scared. Like, I don't know. It's like it's so nervous. Nervous.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It's techie for sure, but yeah, those riders are epic. I'm stoked to see BMX in the Olympics. Like, it's gonna be really cool to see that sport on a world stage like that. So it's incredible.
Do you think slopestyle is gonna make it there?
I hope so. I think it has a lot to do with the women in our sport. But the women are getting incredible. Like there's like if you just saw now at Crankworx, there's girls backflipping in speed and style. Like they're all doing huge whips on the whip off jump. They just haven't had that much opportunity to really showcase their stuff. So I think if we get a proper women's class riding slopestyle and doing tricks, then I think we can get right in there.
We could organize that at the M.O.D backyard.
Exactly.
Invite them, foam pit, resi, airbag.
Yeah, exactly. They just need foam pit and stuff like that and just push their tricks, you know, because a lot of the girls that I've seen, they shred. Like, they ride so good. It's harder for them to hit the ground, obviously, like on big jumps, because they're not as built as some of us riders. But they're also tough, you know. So I'm stoked to see where that portion of the sport goes. And, like, all the boys are super supportive of the chicks because they shred. Like, they're going to shred harder than a lot of the guys soon. They already do.
You heard about Audi 9s bringing girls. That secret is out. Sam was talking about. I think someone else did.
Yeah.
So
no, it's just like I'm saying. It's
cool.
another platform for them to showcase their skills. Like the girls haven't gotten a chance to showcase their skills that much. So to be at an event like Audi 9s, being able to ride and show that they can hit those jumps and hopefully do some tricks on those jumps and that big stuff, they're going to impress a lot of people. So I'm stoked for that.
For sure.
For the ladies.
And I think that the women option, which then at the end is also not needed, also helps them, you know, because probably at Audi 9s, the ladies will also ride the big line at the end of the day, because at Mass of Dirt, when Gemma, I saw her in Crankworx Innsbruck, by the way, Gemma Cobera, a Spanish chick, when she came, we put a little kicker for her. Turns out jumping that little kicker from the big roll-in, way more sketchy than jumping the big one, because you had to brake check a couple of times and don't judge it or like, you know, take care of the speed because you would overshoot and stuff.
For sure.
And that I think that a lot of them will also jump the big jumps, and then that will just give them more platform and more tricks, and soon they'll be probably riding better than me. I mean, we talked about it.
They already are riding better than you, a lot of them.
Probably. That's sad. That's sad, but it is how it is. I guess I won't step it up anymore that much. But hey, big up to all the ladies sending it. It's a crazy sport. Being up on the roll-in, just hitting stuff like that for the first time, or even riding the skate park here. There is stuff like, you just need to overcome your fear, stay calm, and have how do you always ride? What do you say?
I can't reveal these secrets, man.
Okay.
That's between you and me.
Okay, I'll keep it.
There's some keys that I use to keep the riding good, and I told George the other day, and he's trying to reveal these secrets. So that's between us.
No, you're crazy. I won't reveal them. I won't reveal them. Let's move on from the past. Actually, quickly, as we've been at Woodward, I really wanted to know, Dave Mirra, unfortunately, passed away. You grew up with him, right? Or how was it growing up with all the legends at Camp Woodward? Did you just meet them from time to time, or did you really ride with them?
Yeah, there was a lot of legendary guys that I got to ride with at Camp Woodward. Like, that was one of the coolest things about Woodward then, is that there were so many legendary professional riders there, just doing their thing, training for X Games, training for Dew Tour. Dave was actually a guy that was more in Greenville, North Carolina, because he had like the Mirror Warehouse there, and Greenville was quite a poppin' scene at that point. So I met Dave actually at that first FEES that we were at together.
Okay.
That's the first time I actually met Dave, and competed there. He competed in that event as well. So like being able to meet Dave and ride like a contest practice with him, I was like, I was in heaven. I was in a different world. Like I just couldn't believe what was going on, you know? So that was insane. But a guy that I rode with a lot at Woodward was Jamie Bestwick, like one of the most legendary vert riders, and he was definitely quite a good mentor for me, and definitely like just down to earth, you know. He was like at the top of the world in
he still is,
in his
right?
sport. He basically still is, yeah. He like
with I think 50 or something.
He's around there now, yeah. He's looking good, but he's definitely up there. But yeah, he was such a legend. He was always so down to earth, having these little fun sessions with me and like Cloud9, Lot 8, those skate parks. So times like that, like I'll never forget.
Man, that's so dreamy, because and that's why I still like don't want to leave the chapter Woodward in this conversation, because it's. I remember when I was looking back, like or like when I was young, I was like, oh, Camp Woodward. I saved every picture I could find of Camp Woodward. I really wanted to go there. Really wanted my parents to send me there. Probably. I don't know how much fun I would have had, you know, in those summer groups, to be honest, because I was always a bit of a wild child and didn't really fit into groups. I didn't like people telling me what to do, but I never knew how it really was. But so I mean, tell me, how because you had the special wild card, you could go whenever you want. How is a summer camp in Woodward? Because I'm pretty sure, although the internet reveals more things now than the internet back in the day, because there's so much more data and so much more research you can do. But if someone wants to come to Woodward, and for me, Woodward, Pennsylvania, like you say, Cloud 8, the outside thing, the trampolines, the this, the that, wow. Now there's way more Woodwards, but the original is Pennsylvania, where you grew up, right? Mm-hmm. How is it there? Like, how can I imagine Camp Woodward if I have never been there?
Man, Camp Woodward is hard to describe in a short sentence, because it's just such an iconic place for action sports. The thing that I remember most about Camp Woodward is like the mentality of everyone there. Like everyone goes to Camp Woodward to get better at what they do, whether it's biking, whether it's skating, whether it's scooters, inline, whatever you want to do. Gymnastics, loads of gymnastics and cheerleader chicks. That was like, for us young riders, that was like the best thing ever. No. The camp did their best to separate that, because it's obviously a huge distraction, and there's like a lot of boy riders and a lot of girl cheerleaders and gymnasts that obviously want to get together. But the camp like really is like, no, don't do it, because if they just let that happen, then things are gonna get wild.
Loads of Woodward babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Teenagers,
but having the chicks there is obviously insane. You know, you see the chicks coming to the skate park to watch the sesh. You're going off. You're going wild. You're doing your biggest maneuvers right here and then. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love it.
But it was just like that progressive mentality. And there was a lot of naughty things going on at Woodward as well. I remember I was luckily like, Vlad built like a little cabin like half mile from camp. So I was always sleeping there. But the cabins, like where the kids would stay, they were doing crazy challenges, man. They were like sneaking out of the cabin, running to the pool, jumping in the pool, coming back. Like, if you get caught doing this, like, you like get kicked out from camp. Or like they go to the farmer land that's like right over the edge of camp, and they're like stealing the corn and stuff. Like, Woodward was naughty. Woodward was super naughty, but in the best way. Like, everyone goes there and everyone gets better at what they do, and you have those memories and that time. That's crazy. So that was like, it's just an unbelievable place.
Yeah. What else with Camp Woodward? So if you think about Dave Mirror, Freestyle BMX, the second thing, outside the vert ramps, did they change a lot of that stuff up, right? Do they still have dirt jumps?
Yeah, Woodward has changed a lot over the years just because they have to progress with the sports, you know, like, because the skateboarding's gotten a lot bigger, obviously, so they've been building huge skate plazas, like, they built the mini mega ramp, which is epic. The vert ramps that they used to have, they used to be the Titanic and B3, two very insane vert ramps, and now neither of them are there. Because vert is not as attractive to like campers that much anymore. Like vert's still in X Games, but it's not like, for some reason, it's not enough to have like two vert ramps at camp. There's still one in Cloud9 in the indoor skate park where all the pro vert riders train on with the foam pit and the resi. But yeah, a lot of those like vert ramps from the video games and stuff back in the day are not there anymore because it's a lot more skating and stuff like that. But the camp is filled with skateboarders and stuff now. So times have just got a little different. But when I was there last year, it was like the same vibes that I remember from back in the day. So it's always going to be that type of place you go to get better at what you do.
Yeah, sick. I love it. We have to go one day.
Yes, please.
When I come finally visit you.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so from Woodward, from the past, to why we're actually here, Mass of Dirt. The craziest Mass of Dirt stories. And I mean, we're definitely going to have some more episodes when you're back, because there's so much we can talk about and so much we can't talk about. What are your craziest memories? I mean, if we go backwards, you just told me I think Bolzano was the last one we saw. And you did a double flip 360 there.
No, Zagreb. But Bolzano was the one before that. That was a hungover one.
Okay, so the last one was Mass of Dirt Zagreb. Was a very successful month for us. We had 13 shows in Abu Dhabi and simultaneously we had one show in Zagreb. Where you had the bright idea to go party.
Oh, not my idea. Let me give you this story from Zagreb. Or, man, now I'm really. I think Bolzano was the party night.
I don't know. I partied every tour stop, so I don't know which night was a party night or not.
Okay, well, it's either Zagreb or Bolzano.
Okay, let's say one of the most recent tour stops.
Yeah, so the night before we had the show, Mosakin had a party.
If Alistair was there, it must have been Bolzano because Alistair wasn't in Zagreb.
Precisely. So Bolzano.
Yeah. Bolzano, by the way, Italy, North Italy.
On the border. Yeah. So Mosakin had a party the night before the show. Like Mosakin, DJing, partying, obviously wild. I arrived to the club and a few moments in, there was these kids, like, not these kids because we're in a club, but like these young guys that were fans of me, I guess, and they like literally could not believe that I was in their club, you know? They're like, what on earth? So they're like, let's do shots. Like, we're gonna buy these crazy shots. And like, how am I supposed to say no? Like, I'm in Italy. I'm there for a show. Like, Mosakin's having a party. These fans are so hyped that I'm there. I'm like, let's drink, you know? So we get hammered, drinking the whole night with these guys, like epic vibes, insane. Like, go back to the hotel. I remember like puking and stuff. Mosakin was sleeping in the room with me that night.
Oh no.
Yeah. I arrived to practice the next morning and I was feeling like, whoa, what am I doing? Like just trying to cruise some jumps. Like I remember I just straight aired and then I felt weird. So I was like, I'm just gonna do tricks. So I did some corkies and stuff, getting ready.
But I mean, to clarify, you're not on a roll-in, like normally rolling out, rolling,
we're on a winch, like.
So you're on an electric wakeboard winch that pulls you up to probably 50, 60K, and then like onto a freestyle motocross super kicker. Yes, you land on an airbag, but you can also easily miss the airbag.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a little bit of practice. Like I really took it super easy in practice. I remember Adolf like was doing double fronties and then he was super confident in them, but then like he got bounced off the bag onto the concrete and like ruined himself. And then I was like, okay, I'm not riding anymore. Like I'm done with this practice session. I'm good. And then the whole day I was like, man, I can't do this show. I'm feeling messed up. Like I went back to the hotel. I took a nap. Like I was getting advice from Mark from the Fuel Girls. He was like, you have to eat fresh fruit. Like fresh fruit will make you feel better. I was going to the supermarket, buying all this fresh fruit. Like this is all happening in a day. So this is like short time frame. And then I'm like, man, I can't feel better for this. And then luckily, Alistair, the voo-voo, he had this crazy migraine stuff. And it was like in these packets of white powder looking purely like party drugs. Like it was just looking like party drugs. And he was like, man, if you take one, you should be good. Like a packet.
I think he has that shit, it's like anti-dehydration because he cramps up so much. He forgets to drink when he's
But it's
nervous.
also headache stuff. He's like, if you take 2, you're fine. If you take 3, like I've never had to take 3. So I was like, okay, I should be fine with 1. So I took this thing, disgusting taste, downed it with water, and man, I don't know what this stuff was, but it magically took all my head pains away. And then in the show, I landed every trick that I did, including the double flip 3 on the kicker that I didn't even test in practice.
Oh yeah,
I just double flipped it.
So
with the extension. Yeah, with the winch way faster. So I just double flipped and then I double flipped 3'd, and I landed every trick in the show. So like that was the most insane feeling. I felt so messed up all day. So like I did not feel like it was going to be possible for me to do that show. And then the stuff from Alistair saved me. Did the show and then ended up back at that same club that same night that we partied at the night before.
But yeah, I mean, you probably would have partied even without those kids. Like, there's this point where it just tips, you know?
I don't know, man. I would not have gotten as messed up because I don't know, that whole vibe. I went too wild the night before a show, but we've done it before.
Yeah, for
like,
sure. But
gone wild before a show.
Like, I always tell Mosakan, especially in Vienna, where he mostly has parties on the Friday night already or on the Thursday. And I'm like, literally, I'm like, dude, if you are like, I'm not paying you if you tell the guys where you're mixing. Because you know they're going to come and you know they're going to be fucked up in front of a M.O.D Vienna weekend. I mean, a show like that is a piece of cake compared to Vienna.
Oh,
4 days, or like 5 days of riding, 3 days of show riding with 4 shows. Always super hyped, always like, it's crazy. And thinking about Vienna, I remember, and I put it down on my list as well, I remember you at a hotel. We're both coming home. It was like 8. We came home from the after party. No, we came home from the after party, like the Sunday party. 8 a.m. And then you're like, oh, I gotta pack my bags. I gotta go to the airport. So you packed your bags and had the 8:30 shuttle to the airport, and you flew to Crankworx Rotorua in New Zealand. With a 40-hour flight or something ridiculous like that. I think you got second. How the hell is that possible?
Man, that trip was actually super gnarly. Like you said, we partied. I packed my stuff. I got on the plane. The first flight was Vienna to Doha, 7-8 hours. And the next flight was Doha, Qatar to Auckland, New Zealand. The second longest flight on this entire planet. So I get on the plane. I don't even know what to expect. I look at the time remaining in flight, and it says 17:40 remaining.
Oh my!
I say,
God!
I just got off a 7-hour flight, and you're telling me I'm about to fly 17 hours in this one plane?
No business class, right?
No. Luckily, the Qatar Airways, that huge plane, like I can't complain. But 17 hours, still, I couldn't believe it. So then 17 hours there. I land in Auckland. Not even my final destination. I have to get my bags, my bike and everything, run to the domestic terminal, and then fly from Auckland to Rotorua.
Are you joking?
No.
You have to check out to check in again.
Listen. This gets gnarlier and gnarlier.
Were you still hangover by that time?
I don't even know what I was. I was just in a crazy headspace at this time. I fly
alone. You were alone too?
Alone, yeah. I fly from Auckland to Rotorua, tiny airport. Get out in Rotorua, get my bike, get to the hotel. I swear to you, I had dropped my bags off, got my pads. I didn't even have time to put my bike together because Specialized had like a fresh bike for me for this event that was already there. So I literally got dropped off at the hotel, gathered my pads, went to the course, got this bike from Specialized, and immediately got on the course for practice.
On like one of the gnarliest courses on the planet. Mm-hmm. Jesus. And was that the year you got second?
I don't remember what happened that year.
I think so. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you got second.
I've been second a few times in Rotorua. I won once. That wasn't the year I won. The one year that I won was also after Vienna. Was after a Vienna show, I remember. But I don't think it was the year with the fucked up travel. I think the travel, the time that I won was a little bit easier. Because I remember that year was just something else.
No, I mean, that's a... Respect. I want to come back to one other crazy story. You did a double backflip 360 on Russo's bike.
Oh yeah, we were just in Innsbruck.
How weird is that?
Dude, we were in Innsbruck just talking about it. So I'll just explain the scenario why I was even on Russo's bike. So we're doing the show. I tried the 1440 as my final trick before the extension gets put on for Adolf to triple flip and for me to double flip 3. And somehow, even on the airbag, I under-rotated the 1440 a little bit and my wheel blew up. My tire blew up. So, and then the extension's immediately getting put on. So there's no way I'm going to repair my tire. There's no time for that. I can't just put someone's wheel on my back wheel because we all have like super different bikes. So then I see Russo's bike and it has the same fork that I have.
Judge a bike by its fork.
And I'm like, okay, like this could be a thing. So I take his fork, I adjust it to my settings, like as close as I could do. And I was just like, whew. This is happening right now. It was the last stop of the tour. And I think that's why I was so motivated because I was trying the double flip 3 for the whole tour. And it was so close, but it just didn't happen. And I was so confident for it to happen during that night show that when my tire popped, I was like, I'm still going to find a way to make this happen. Like I was just determined. So I took Russo's bike. I'm like riding around, bouncing around on it. I go to like get ready for the winch. Edgar sees me. He looks, sees that it's not my bike. And he's like, it's your bike. You got it. It's your bike. And he was just like giving me that confidence push out. Like that's what I needed right there.
Stay relajante.
Yeah, he was so confident. So then first go, I like committed super hard and I landed on my wheels, but then I got like shot off the bag, gnarly crash. But it was like the closest one I had done by far. So I was like, I got this. So I ran back and then on Russo's bike, just landed this double flip 3. So like
gnarly moment.
Insane moment.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, crazy how you can adapt. And regarding the partying, I found a video, Spielberg, if you can pull it up. It's that party video from Dublin.
Oh, you have it?
Remember, we were at the after party in Dublin, and it was the wildest times. Here, we're looking at it now. Look in the left corner. So we had the happy dance. Shout out to Romain, my brother from France, or our brother from France. He invented that happy dance.
Yeah.
And basically, you're in the corner, happy dancing with the long hair.
Yeah.
You wear
oh my God, look at the
14?
hair, man.
14?
Yeah, 14.
14 in Ireland, in a wild nightclub with half-naked ladies. Man, we would get arrested for that these days. That would be like...
I remember...
That would be probably like
that chick...
Hey, with this, you could hand in a male Me Too version. Honestly, not even joking. Like, I remember Vlad, your dad, running around...
The girl...
With the camera and like filming you motorboating the boobs and stuff.
Oh look, the girl that's wearing the monster hat, that was my monster hat at the time. She was the one that let me motorboat her boobies. And that was like, at the time, since I'd never motorboated and stuff before, I was 14. I was in this, like, that was like literally the best moment of my life, man.
Oh well, man, just seeing Mrs. Spielberg here, Steven, our social media manager, loving this clip. Wow, it's wild. Look, I'm full of booze, shouting. Man, it's so wild. The times were so wild. Remember this
What do you mean? We're the same now. We behave the same way.
Yes, we do. We just do it less. I do it less because I can't run the company if I'm like hangover and if my mind's foggy. But absolutely, we do behave the same way. We just, I mean, Lennox.
Yeah, he's insane.
Michael Knight, Lennox's dad.
Yeah.
Or Long Don Ron, Jackson Goldstone's dad. They're absolutely legends, but they're not coming to the after party at this extent.
Yeah,
Vlad was there filming it. I would love to get that footage. He was filming with a camera, just smiling.
I have another funny story about Vlad with partying. Also has to do with motorboating titties. There was one year at the Praterdome. Where do you remember that was
What's
that?
What's the Prado? Do you mean the Prado? So for those who don't know, Praterdome is the Vienna
Praterdome
club.
is where we always have the after parties after the Vienna show. Sickest club, sickest times with everyone.
600 crew and riders invited in the VIP. 300 bottles vodka, 150 bottles whiskey. Everything gone. Every curtain, every glass, every fire extinguisher, everything destroyed. So we adapted the club over the years, so we don't had such high bills.
Definitely.
Absolutely mental.
What was I saying?
But yeah, story there was.
With Vlad.
Yeah.
There was this one year that there was that Russian Miss M.O.D girl with the big titties. Do you remember?
Lucy Sky.
Yes. Okay. And for some reason, she was letting me motorboat her boobs all the time, the whole night. And obviously, I think it was like a year or two later at this time. I was like 15, 16. So I was obviously taking advantage of every opportunity I got to get in these boobies.
Yes.
And then I'm like dancing around, and then I walk over and I see Vlad in the VIP. And he comes up to me and he's like looking at me weird, and he's like, yo. He was saying it in Russian, but he was like, what do you have all over your face? Like, I'm like, what? He's like, you have sparkles, glittery sparkles all over your face. And I was like, at that point I realized that I had just gotten face full of sparkles from motorboating this chick's boobs all night, and Vlad just fully called me out for it. And I just remember that moment. We just laughed so hard together. Like, he's like, I see what you've been doing. So, funny moments, man. Funny moments at the Praterdome always. But that's one at a young age that I remember with Vlad that made me laugh.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, there's so many stories because I think since you were 13 to 23, it must have been when COVID started, you did 80% of the M.O.D shows. Every show, which must have been probably, in total, like show days, probably 100.
Yeah. I mean, since I did my first Vienna when I was 13, I haven't missed it.
No, you have
done
missed
every
Vienna.
single one.
There's several tour stops you missed, but like probably only 20%.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more stories, but there's also insane stuff that got developed, like the Dick Lifting World Championship. I mean, it is so ridiculous. People will be thinking like, what the hell are those guys on about? Special greetings goes out to our American friends, but I heard you brought it over. I mean, a little explanation maybe. But what it all is, we thought it's really smart to start when we're drunk. And we're having those rowdy hotel room after parties, where it's basically like just...
When everyone's drunk, when there's music playing and you're just trying to think of ridiculous things to do or funny things for the room to laugh.
Yeah,
so we're messed up at that point.
Or still think it's funny to promote. We're event organizers, so we can't stop organizing events. So even in the hotel, we organize the Dick Lifting World Championship, which means whoever's brave enough starts lifting stuff with their penis.
And we're not talking hard penis at this point.
Because no, obviously not hard.
At this point of the night, that's probably not happening.
you use it like a leash, like if you have a piece of rope, you know. So you kind of what's it called when you like?
Yeah, we don't.
you try to I don't know. Let's you put it, you just use it as a lift, and you hold it, and then whoever lifts heavier has won. And we usually have great cheerleaders like the Fuel Girls and other chicks.
Very supportive crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes less chicks than we would like to have in the judging panel, but that's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We're not so picky. So what, like, and literally, we have lifted lamps, chairs, tables, bags, full rider gear bags, motocross gear, helmet, spare parts, like...
Dude, I think the one that made me laugh the most was from you, because I think it was like, I was taking my bike apart, and then you like took we like did one of my wheels, and the wheel was so easy for you that you put the second wheel, and then you started like putting other bike parts on it, and like, and I was just dying, like that, it just got so ridiculous, man.
No, it is actually ridiculous, and I did regret it, never regret anything, but I did regret when I once woke up and my whole dick was blue. The top part of my dick was blue, like dark blue, like bruised blue, crazy. Really damaged it. Imagine it would have ripped off.
No, not possible.
And you brought that, maybe it's going to be Olympic one day. If the Olympic Committee...
I don't know. I think some dicks will get ripped off, unfortunately, if it becomes an Olympic sport. But no, the US... The one I remember from the US, which makes me laugh the most, is one that DJ and I did. Shout out DJ Brand. We were at a pool at a hotel, like 2 a.m. We're not allowed to be in this pool for sure, but we're just vibing. I forget what hotel this was in the US. But there was this like 15... or 20-foot long metal stick that they used to clean the pools. And I just saw this stick hanging on the side, and I'm like, DJ, we're doing this. And we had to dual team DLWC this massive pool cleaning stick. And we were just laughing so hard, and it was just the most ridiculous thing ever. So funny that European stuff, which the European party vibe and some of the stuff that happens in Europe is definitely weirder than the guys are used to in the US, and in general people are used to in US, because I don't know, things in Europe are just funny and wild and weird. But it's funny to bring that stuff over to the boys and for them to laugh about it.
You're like the Columbus of the dick lifting world championship in the USA. It's absolutely amazing. And the streaking, like I talked to Sam Reynolds about the streaking, which is like getting naked and running through hotels, which was an absolute, like it's absolutely lagging. If you hear psh, 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 someone's gonna come around the corner naked, streaking through an environment full of people, which is absolutely crazy. And you
had a bit of an issue with that one year in the hotel, though, no?
Yeah, that's exactly the story we talked about with Sam Reynolds. It was like 4 or 5 of us running through the hotel, and they then complained with me, but they didn't know that I was one of the guys actually running with the crowd. I was like top 5. Absolutely crazy. I also remember in Vienna once I got an email. It was one of these wild after parties. Oh, I'm always talking Sunday after parties, and you guys were supposed to leave, and then Vlad, your dad, sent me an email, and he's like, "Where is Nicholi?" And I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know, because I don't know where the hell you stayed, and you must have been like also 15, 16 or something like that. You disappeared like after the party, and I don't know if you slept with some girls."
I think I remember this. Yeah,
He's like, "We have to leave to the airport."
I was with a girl, and I told this girl that I had to leave. Like, we had to fly out. And I was like, I have to leave this room. Like, I have to leave this room. I forget what time it was. And I woke up, and it was like literally 10 minutes before I was supposed to leave the hotel. And the curtains are closed and shit. And I'm like, what? I told you. Like, I was angry because I knew that Vlad was going to be on my ass.
Jesus.
And so
I was scared for my life.
I run to the room. Vlad had packed my whole bike for me, all of my shit for me, and was just like, he was so not impressed. He was just like beyond belief angry about the situation. He was like, "I was gonna leave you here at the hotel. Like, what are you doing? I packed all your stuff for you." So yeah, sometimes we stay out a little late. I sleep in a bit much.
No, I mean, it's okay, but then I kind of like, I have this responsibility towards your dad, but I mean, he let you go to the party, and I cannot watch you all the party, and then...
Yeah, of course.
early years, of course, you want to get with a girl, you know, like, sure. Well, it was crazy, but I remember he didn't have my number, so he couldn't call me. And then I got this email, and I'm like,
he's just like
reading an email. Where's Nikolai? Also, I remember once I sent a text message, and your full name is Nikolai Vladimir Rogatkin, and then your dad's name is Vladimir Rogatkin. And then I sent a text message to you, and it must have been like some weird shit, you know, some non-dad shit, I remember. And then I say sent, and in the text message, like half drunk, I see Vladimir Rogatkin, and I'm like, oh, damn, did I just send that to Nikolai's dad? But it was just the full name that has appeared.
Oh, man.
Pretty crazy times. Man, Dan Bilzerian follows you on Instagram. How the hell is that possible, and how cool is that? And why the hell have we not been at one of his parties yet?
I don't know. Yeah, Dan, a few years ago, he followed me and commented on one of my clips. I think he said like Beast or something. And he liked my vids for a bit, and he still follows me now. I tried to hit him up with a DM to see if we could go party with him or something, and he never saw it. I'm sure there's millions of chicks in his DMs. So, but then again, I was like, this guy follows me, so this DM is gonna go straight to him. And if he follows me, like, I'm sure he's down to chill. But he hasn't gotten back to me. But he's a pretty legendary guy, especially in US. So just the fact that he even follows is pretty hype. But hopefully we can party with him one day, and hopefully can get some other big name people.
Yeah, we swear
being
then,
fans of mountain bike, you know?
We swear no dick lifting world championship at your house if we're invited.
I'm sure he'd be more than down. The huge panel of Bilzerian chicks just judging.
Yeah, imagine. Those parties look so intense. Yeah. But crazy that's actually, I think it's something that probably not a lot of people know. Dan Bilzerian follows Nikolai and only 300 and something other people. Yeah. But being followed by 9... way more. No, I don't know. Like,
who knows?
Crazy guy. Quickly to your setup at your house, and the Russian mentality and the Russian dad. Is that what pushed you? Looking back at it, did it push you too much? But let's start with how it was. How is the setup? I've seen you have a roll-in off the roof. Is that still there?
Yeah.
So everything's the same?
Yeah, I mean, there's the roll-in off the roof that goes into the 2 kickers, which lead to the airbag. There's like a smaller one and then a big mama kicker. And then beside it, there's like this big tower, like at least 10 meters, with like a roll-in that goes into a step down, and then stacked on top of it, which you can crank up or leave down, is the flat drop. No way. So you can still ride the flat drop and the one under it. You can... Yeah, it's actually... It's like a winch system? Or? Yeah, it's because it gets rusty, it feels like a sketchy system, because when you crank it up, it makes all crazy noises and stuff. Like, but it's actually the most genius system, because with the step down, it's not going to be as tall because you have to go up and you have the air time before you land. So the fact that there's the step down and then the flat drop on top of it, which is like exactly, I don't know, like a body length taller, it's like the perfect height for the flat drop. So it's like the most genius use of the wood in terms of making 2 contest-sized drops at your house. So in terms of stuff like Cork 720s on step downs, or like a double whip on a flat drop, which is like tricks that I've used to win big contests before, that was like super key, like having those big drops onto an airbag at my house. But the setup is no joke. Like when I go out to ride the setup, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna come out here and just try some new tricks. Like I go out there and it's like, you're focused and you're dialed and you have to do things perfect or you're gonna get launched. Do you still have that other part where that you had as a kid with like the quarter pipe and the little resi and stuff? Yeah, the resi's not that small. It's a 6-foot takeoff with a 9-foot landing, and then it leads into a 10-foot quarter, and then there's a bowl corner, and then there's like a 7-foot tall mini ramp, which is epic for BMX. It's the sickest BMX setup. On the hardtail, it's a bit tight, but it's nice to ride because you really are super precise with your bike. But it's a super dreamy setup. And like my dad has always been willing to go above and beyond with building. Who built it? I just wanted to ask. My dad. Vlad built it all? All. Like I help him with like handiwork, like if he needs physical assistance, but he is like, he maps it out. He does it. Like he somehow geniusly finds a way to make it happen. I mean, his career is building houses. So.
Oh, that's so cool.
I mean,
man, that's insane, because I remember just so many stories from when you were young, where you like that you told me that you were like trying this trick and then like trying it 10 times and then pushing back, and Vlad's like, if you don't land that now, you should stop riding a bike.
Yeah. The thing with Vlad is he did have a very Russian mentality, but it's crazy because he has more confidence in me than anyone has ever had confidence in me. Like more confidence that I have in myself, more confidence than anyone has ever shown. And that's why I think that he was always pushing me a lot, because he somehow saw this path to becoming a world champion and a top rider in the world that I didn't necessarily see. Like when I was coming into mountain bikes, he was telling me to email these companies, and he was like, tell them that you're going for a world title. Like tell them that you're going to win a world title. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not going to win a world title. Like, why am I going to tell these sponsors that there's even a chance that I'm going to win a world title? Like, what do you mean? And then a few years later, I'm on the top step winning the world championship, or like winning the biggest events. So it was like, he was pushing me a lot and aggressively and always like, not over the top, but pushing as hard as you can push. But over the years, I realized is because he had so much confidence in me, and that every time I drop into an event, he thinks that I can win it. You know what I mean? And that confidence is something that really means a lot, like to me, and has like kind of installed my own attitude when it comes to riding. So
yeah, sick.
Like I'm super thankful for that trust. Because there's not a lot of fathers. Like there's a lot of fathers that would be like, oh yeah, he's not good enough, or like he's too scared of this. But he was always like, my kid can do it, and he's gonna do it.
Yeah, that's so dope.
It's like, it's that just having someone, especially someone that basically brought you into this world, having someone believe in you like that is life changing. So I'll always be thankful for that. No,
Vlad's an absolute legend, and I asked that question because back in the day, like just the naysayers I was asking about, and people were like, he's always pushed by his dad and blah blah blah, and he's overdoing it. But I mean, I have the impression that you're very well educated, that you do a perfect job, and that you're not traumatized from the education or for the pushing he has done, and you still have loads of fun riding your bike. Yeah. That's what counts. Loads of people that start so young with pushy dads at one point, kind of get over it. But talking about getting over it, how old is Rita now?
Brett?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a few years older than me, but he's not that much older. Okay. I'm 25, so he's probably like, I would say he's probably 28 at this point.
Okay. Is it for you, when you see people retire, are you like, oh, I can't wait to retire, or not? I can't wait. Probably, definitely not. But I know. But are you like thinking about like to stop, or how is the pressure to handle the pressure at like Crankworx?
No, actually, it makes me more confident because I've competed with Reader for a long time, like a lot of years. And I'm still extremely, extremely motivated to continue competing and to get more tricks done and more wins and all that stuff. Like that's still so motivationally high on my list. And he is a rider who obviously was always motivated to win as well. But now he's like moved on to different aspects of riding in his career and like different bike riding. Like he's by no means stopping riding. Like
yeah.
He's probably, I think he's probably riding better than ever at this point, but just different. So it makes me like actually excited about my motivation, because it's like I've competed with him for years. Like I should want to do the same too. But here I am sitting so motivated to continue competing. So it excites me that I still am so amped up to keep experiencing these nerves and this pressure and that contest bullshit that you always go through, that a lot of riders get over and a lot of riders don't want to experience at all. So the fact, like me, like just now in Innsbruck, obviously it's easier and more motivational after so long not competing. Not easier, but easier to be motivated after so long not competing. But like, I haven't even gotten close to getting tired of this stuff yet, and I can't there's no way I could retire.
Yeah,
and stop competing. Great, every time there's a contest, I want to be there dropping in because I love the atmosphere. I love the banter with the guys. I love the relationships that we have with each other, like friendship wise, in terms of riders. Like the closest bonds I have with people in this world are like the guys that I compete head to head against, you know, because we understand each other's headspace and each other's struggles and stuff. So you become really close to those people. So I just want to keep experiencing stuff like that.
That's great. That's great to hear. That's just what I've expected, actually. Like now you did opposite cash roll, is that correct?
Yeah.
How many people do that?
That was the first one ever in a contest run.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Who else does it? Like
I know Antoine Bizet has done it.
Yeah.
I know Tom Van Steenbergen has done it.
Okay. Yeah, but like a handful.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone other than them, but no one's done it in a contest run.
What's the scariest trick? Scariest trick? Is it the foot goal, like the 1440?
No, the 1440 is definitely the most aggressive trick that I do, and the one that requires the highest level of commitment because you're doing 4 rotations. So from the moment you leave the ramp, like you're so committed to like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the most commitment. The scariest one, the front flip stuff scares me. Like a front flip tail whip, for some reason, so scary. So like
because when you over rotate, you're done, right? Or
I don't even know because a lot of times the front flip tail whip goes well for me, and like if it doesn't, then it's not that bad of a crash. But every time I'm about to drop in to do a front flip whip, no matter where it is, like a real jump or even an airbag, that feeling of like tail whipping and going forwards off the lip is just beyond scary. So that would probably be the scariest one I do. Double front is super scary as well, but I've never done that on dirt. So I'm sure it's on another level.
Not yet.
Not yet.
What's the next? Because we're talking about you being young and so on. What do you think next generation? Who's coming up? Do you think like Lennox, Harry, what's these Showa BMX? You know those Japanese killers. So many like crazy young people now out there. And anyone you would put your bet on already?
I would put a lot of my bets on a kid like, because he's still young, I'm really going to call him a guy yet, someone like Jackson Goldstone.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that has impressed us a lot with his tricks at the show and at Audi 9s, but then again, he just got second in his first ever World Cup race. So
in elite or in junior?
Junior, yeah. But he's young, and those junior kids are unbelievable.
Yeah, I know for sure. Yeah.
So the fact that he has those all-around skills is just going to pay off huge. And the same with someone like Harry. Like he gets on all kinds of different bikes, motos, race, mountain bike, BMX, and he's always shredding. So that like being able to ride so many different things, like when you're young and having the opportunity to ride all those different things and excel in them is going to pay off huge for those boys. They're going to be able to ride anything and do whatever trick they want. So Lennox is absolutely going to be an unbelievable killer in BMX.
Who is going to switch to mountain bike? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he goes huge. He goes higher than any of us in the show, and he's half our size. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, Lennox is absolutely insane. I totally agree.
He's such a crowd pleaser. Like, dude, I had to go after him to do a trick in one of the shows, and it was after one of the double flips that he went to the fucking moon. And the crowd was going so crazy for him and had me shook. Had me fucking shook up. I was like, this place is going nuts for this kid. This is unbelievable.
I have to say, Lennox impressed me like crazy on tour, and especially hanging. I mean, he was still on the 16-inch, I believe.
He was on an 18.
Yeah, but
a small one.
He was hanging on the winch, and he didn't look over the bars. He looked in between the middle bar and the stem.
Like a chopper.
And it
right?
was like a chopper, and was getting super wobbly, and then on that big ramp, and sometimes he let go and fell in the airbag, and I'm always very concerned, for everyone riding, because I want no one to get hurt. That's also why we use airbags and why we take the biggest circumstances to protect the riders, training and tell everyone, hey, just do whatever you want to do. But Lennox is another level, and then those double flips and everything's freaking crazy. I have a bunch of questions about some more about American guys, but we'll probably move that to the next episode.
Do we have to restart the camera?
I already did.
Oh, you already did. Cool.
Yeah, no, we're all sorted, but keep the best for later. But still, I'm not done. What I want to know is, now that you're getting older, and because it feels like we don't get so much insight on what's happening when you're home. What's like your daily routine? Do you like?
Dude, I play so much hockey when I'm home.
Ice hockey?
Every single day I play ice hockey.
When it's summer?
Doesn't matter. All the rinks are open. Oh yeah, indoor. I mean, I usually play in the winter indoor as well.
Okay.
There's times of the year in the winter if there's not that much snow and it's super cold outside, that we get some pond hockey sessions, which is like the best thing in the whole world. But other than that, I'm always in the rink. I'm like just.
Are you with a team?
Yeah.
In the team, like proper practice, or?
No, not like men's league team. Like couple games a week. Referees out there, like hard games. But the other ones are a lot of pickup games. I'm just so... It's such an incredible sport, in my opinion.
Are you good?
Yeah, decent.
Like,
sure.
Are you like
I mean, I'm playing,
hobby or amateur level?
I'm playing every day.
Or are you like low pro level?
Oh, no. Dude, being low pro level in hockey, especially on the East Coast where I live, is unbelievable.
Is it huge hockey like there? It does fill up when
Dude, there's like probably 15 rinks within 30 minutes of me. And all those rinks have games and practices and leagues all the time. Everyone is playing so good. But it's just like, it's kind of similar to riding in the work aspect. Like you go out, you skate hard for like a minute or two, then you're chilling. You like go out there and you have like a massive outburst, like going hard, physical, powerful, and then you chill. And that's like, if I'm doing a contest run, top to bottom, like around a minute or so of just power and like physicality and making it happen. So I feel like the outbursts are pretty similar, but also very different in a way. So that's what I'm doing all the time at home. I'm obviously riding a lot. I love the bike parks around. I love Highland Mountain Bike Park.
How far is that from your house?
That's about an hour and a half cruising the highway. But I have to thank Highland for existing. Dude, without Highland, I wouldn't have gotten into mountain biking. Like, that's the place where it all started for me. Like, they had a slope course there. They had trails there. They also welcomed me with open arms, saying, come ride here whenever you want, all the time.
Big bag jump as well, right?
They had one for a bit. They had like one from Red Bull.
Don't have it anymore?
They don't have it anymore. Just because like someone would have to sit being the airbag patroller all day, and like people wouldn't ride the airbag every day. So it was like, you know what I mean?
What's your job? Yeah, I'm an airbag patroller.
Well, yeah, but it's like they would have to have someone working, because it's pretty dangerous to just send people out on an airbag, because they think it's like...
It was a big airbag, right?
Huge.
It wasn't like in Leogang they have an airbag now with a kicker that's as tall as this couch.
No, it was one that you could send it on. So it was like, it was a little bit dangerous in a way. But Highland is almost a Woodward level place for getting better at mountain biking, because there's so much progressive stuff and also like such a good community of good riders. So I have to like be so thankful for Highland for letting me ride there and for existing, because that place has done wonders for me. And all the international riders that have come over and seshed there, they all love it, man. They love it. So
your routine, but like...
Oh yeah, we're getting back to the routine.
Yeah.
I guess it changes. Like if I have a contest coming up, like the week before I went to Innsbruck, I was home for a week training, and it's like I would get up 8:30, 9, have a little sesh in the morning, chill during the day because it's so hot and so humid. And then I would go out and ride again in the evening. So a couple sessions every day, getting all the tricks dialed. I went up to Maine to my buddy Caden. He's a young 15-year-old kid who's insane at gymnastics, like U.S. national gymnastics team and stuff, but he's shredding slopestyle now because he loves it way more. And his dad built him a super sick course like 2 hours away from me.
Probably the next Bienve. I mean, Bienve is so good at what he does because of gymnastics.
For sure.
And he only started with 27.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's actually, shout out to Bimba. It's
Shout out to
unbelievable.
Bienve, yeah.
And that front flip.
Bienve is inspirational to everyone, I think, because he's doing the best riding of his career way past when people say is the prime of a mountain biker's career. Like he's well into his 30s, and he's riding by far better and more savage than he's ever rode. That's inspirational to me. Yeah,
no, for sure. He's actually 34, and the way he controls front flips, but also the mind, how strong his mind is insane. Because I mean, those dark fest jumps are so big. That one 100-footer, it's so big. I haven't even been there. I know it's so big because I know the distances from Moto. Yeah. And I'm like, no way in hell I would jump that on a motorcycle.
If you saw this jump in real life, you'd be like...
No, I would, yeah. I think I can imagine, but I agree if I would see it, would be even more crazy. So no strict routine, no time when you get up, no like...
No, I try to keep the routine loose.
It's cool.
It's because of traveling a lot, you know? Like, my life is pretty unpredictable when it comes to traveling. So I feel like if I was to get on a strict routine, then I would just have to change up that routine, like, and it would like trip me out, you know? So just being on that like loose routine, and like not loose, but just like kind of adapting to what's coming up in terms of if you have an event coming up, if you have a film trip coming up, just like preparing for that. It's all about the preparation, like that.
Yeah, I think you also get like so much better if you travel and ride different spots, you know? If you only ride one ramp and one foam pit, and then it's slightly different.
Yeah, I mean, actually, one of the shuttle drivers at Crankworx was asking me this, and it made me think a lot about this aspect. He was like, how do you guys like practice for slopestyle? Like, how can you possibly practice like this many jumps, this massive, top to bottom? He was like, how do you guys prepare yourselves for this? And I was like, being here is what prepares us for this. Like, every contest that you do is preparation for the next one.
Like with the shows. Every show is a rehearsal for the next show.
Exactly. Yeah, you know it better than anyone. Like, you simply cannot duplicate the feeling and the situation and everything. Like, the shows and the training, the shows and the contest and the training that goes into those two is what prepares you for that every time, you know? Like, no matter me training at home on my airbag, like, yeah, that's gonna make me better at my tricks. That's gonna make me more confident in my tricks. But still, the confidence that I have when I arrive to the course, it comes from all the years that I've been competing on things like that before, you know?
Do you prefer foam pits or airbags?
They serve a similar but different purpose. Personally, if I have no idea how a trick is gonna go and I've never done it before, I would rather try it in a foam pit. But if I like have confidence that I can land the trick, then I'll do it on an airbag, you know? So because the airbag is more realistic, like it's a landing, you can ride out the trick, but you can still be okay.
Flat bag or landing bag, you mean?
Both. Mm-hmm. But like you don't want to have a heinous, uncontrolled crash in an airbag, you know, like one that you don't even know where you are in the air, which is why a foam pit is better for that. But it's tough. I think the world is moving a lot more towards airbags just because they're a lot more logical and a lot more progressive. You know, I feel like there's some really sick technology going into a lot of the new airbags, as you probably know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Like
back jump is killing it.
They're like so technically amazing and like make it so possible to do such crazy tricks all the time. So I don't know. Like for example, when I learned the double flip 3,
yeah,
like I just sent it on the bag in Vienna.
Oh,
like I just went for it, and like I kept smashing myself under rotating, you know, but 8 tries later and it was landed. So But
I think it's like you are so far in your head with those tricks because you did the first flip 360 with 13 and you did the first this with 11 and that with 14 and you have done it so much that, I mean, no disrespect to the trick, and I know how gnarly it is, and I would never even go out and do it, and half of the riders out there would really end their career because they would probably miss the whole jump trying what you tried. But still, I think it makes more sense for you because you have been riding so much with those tricks. But yeah, sending a trick like that and then landing on the side like you did, like double flip 270.
Yeah.
Everyone else would dislocate the shoulder. Do you work out? Do you run weights or not at all?
Yeah, I mean, before COVID happened, it was tough for me to fit in a workout program because there were so many events and so many contests. So when I would get home, I would either be immediately preparing for the next one, riding-wise, or I would just be recovering. So it wasn't like, I was like, man, when am I going to go to the gym? But since COVID happened and stuff, and I had a lot more free time at home, I've actually been going to the gym a lot with one of my closest friends from since we were super young, since we went to elementary, middle, high school together. His name is Connor Holloway, and he's training now for all kinds of like marathons and Ironmans and stuff, and just a big physical guy. And he basically just put me on a program to strengthen my shoulders and chest, because legs I have from all the years of riding and from hockey, core as well from all the rotations, like the core is pretty strong. But my shoulders have received a lot of damage over the years, and my chest is generally weak just because I'm a bike rider. So just a lot of that in the gym. So I definitely feel a lot stronger from that. But now that the events are starting again and all this travel is starting again, like I did a workout with the Russos this morning, which was a tough one, but I haven't been in the gym.
You're probably going to feel that workout tomorrow.
I feel it right now, man.
Nice, and we're about to go session the M.O.D warehouse, so...
Not the first time.
What?
Not the first time I ride after working out, so...
No, definitely. Yeah, we'll make it happen. Last thing regarding the routine. Nutrition, are you fully American it, or do you watch a little bit what you eat?
Yeah, I have to watch it for sure. I probably definitely don't have the best tendencies when it comes to sugar and stuff. Like I know a lot of high level athletes try to cut like a lot of the sugars out. But me, I've like always been kind of fueled by a lot of sugar, so it's hard for me to cut that out. But I definitely try my best to eat good, like eat
so at home, what's like your favorite food?
Like borscht. Like typical Russian beet soup, like the most typical Russian meal.
Borscht.
Yeah, it's just like beets and other good stuff and meat in there. And like, it's something that I ate every day when I came home as a kid. Like from school, instantly, big bowl of borscht. So it's just like, puts me in a very comforting place. And also is super healthy, like beets.
Can you make it?
Me? No. Because
I wanted to eat borscht.
My mother and my grandma, my mom and my grandma, like, they make crazy good borscht.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I thought you might be able to.
No, I definitely don't have the Russian mom capabilities that require making borscht. But
that's a pity.
It's the best. Like that's the meal that I like the most. And apparently, like beets, like help like put oxygen in your blood or something. They're super healthy. So I don't know. Other than that. I definitely have a lot of protein in my diet, like usually eating some sort of meat every meal of the day. Sure.
Like also salad, veggie, and so on.
Sure.
So
yeah, it's just hard with
so
travel.
You don't shit bricks.
It's hard with travel also. Like
tell me about it.
If you like have a very strict nutrition program and then you try to travel to all these places like that don't satisfy your needs, like your body's gonna kind of freak out.
No.
So that's another reason to like kind of keep the nutrition routine flexible and like just be able to house down whatever and get after it.
I think like with all, balance is the key, and like your body, especially in your age, can take a lot. And if you give it some breaks, you know, actually like digestion breaks and also breaks after digesting, so your stomach can like recover from digesting, and you can use the energy that your body would need for digesting for something else. It's fine, you know. Drink a lot of water. Yeah. So, damn, we got 2 more minutes. How long are we in?
1.5 hours.
1.5 hours. It's an absolute record. I thought about maybe doing some more with the boys, like a group thing. Mosaka wanted to get a little bit drunk on a podcast. Let's see what we come up with. Flexibility is it's so great with you, because like you were supposed to fly home 2 days ago. Now you're here. We don't even know when you're gonna go home. You're definitely gonna be here when this is gonna be released. We're not sure. Anyway, Thank you so much for coming. I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to cause more mischief with you and be your athlete support at the next contests, and have you at all our shows. And I love you like a son and a brother. And where do we find you online for those who live under a rock?
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you search up, it's just Nicholi Rogatkin.
Thank you, and please do not change.
You too, brother. Don't change. You're acting like we changed from the Dublin parties. We're the same, bro.
Don't tell.
Let's go, Sesh.
Yeah. Hell yeah.